Today, we're talking with Josh Penner, who is running for state senate in the 2nd District. Welcome to the program, Josh.
Hi, Kelly. Thank you for having me today.
Thank you for running for office. Can you share with viewers out there what's motivating you to run for state senate?
Absolutely. And first, thank you for the recognition. As most folks in the district already know, this isn't my first time running for office. I'm currently the mayor of the city of Ording, and I've ran for office several times in the district and won those times as well. Now, the reason I'm running for senator in the 2nd legislative district is because we are at a very critical time in our state. Whether we're talking about the budget, whether we're talking about cultural issues, or we're just talking about societal issues, which I have a feeling we're going to be talking about here in the next couple minutes, there is certainly an opportunity here for conservatives to lead with the message that's going to deliver more liberty and more success for the folks in our district, but also statewide.
You mentioned being the mayor of Ording. Can you discuss any of your other qualifications that make you a good fit for this job?
Sure, absolutely. So I'm currently the mayor of the city of Ording. In the past, I was the council member in the city of Ording and a planning commissioner. So I have a lot of experience at the local level. Regionally, I'm part of several different leadership teams. I'm part of the Pierce County Regional Council and the Puget Sound Regional Council, as well as part of various different boards with the Association of Washington Cities and at Pierce County. And I was also an elected Pierce County Charter Review Commissioner. So I come to this position with a lot of experience at the statewide level, the regional level, and certainly at the municipal level.
Two controversial topics for any politician are guns and abortion. Can you share your stand on both those issues?
Sure. Let's start with guns. So we're talking about the Second Amendment right here. And first, just real quick, right, we have to know that rights are given to us by our Creator. They're granted to us by our Creator. And the Bill of Rights and the Constitution restricts the government's authority to infringe upon any of our natural rights. And if our founders weren't explicit enough with the Second Amendment, then the folks who drafted the Washington State Constitution in 1889 were even more explicit that the right to bear arms should not be infringed or impeded in any way. So weapons, guns are not just for hunting. They're for whatever you wish to use them for, as long as you're not taking away other people's rights while you're doing it. As far as abortion goes, I have this on my website, votepenner.com. I have this all on all my materials, right? I believe life begins at the moment of conception. That's something my family and I believe. And just really briefly, I can use an anecdotal piece of evidence for this, right? So I have 3 children. 2 of them have profound disabilities, and you don't have to look any further than Europe, where the diagnosis of Down syndrome, they say, has been eliminated. Nobody has Down syndrome anymore. But in reality, all they're doing is diagnosing pre-birth and killing the babies that have Down syndrome. And so what you see with this conversation is really a disgusting move forward to take away the life of kids like my own. So I not only do I have kind of the basic pro-life philosophy, it's very personal for me. I believe everybody has the right to life at the moment of conception.
Let's start discussing some state-related issues. COVID-19 has had a profound impact on our state's economy, and it will have a continuing impact on our state's revenue, which will impact the state's budget. Can you share what you would do as a state senator to bring our recovery along more quickly?
Absolutely. So first, right, there's the assumptions that we have to approach. The first assumption is that in order to fix the state budget, or as a lot of folks are calling it right now, a budget deficit, we need to have an income tax. And that is completely false. They are pushing that forward, saying that we have a budget deficit of $7 billion at least, and we need to make sure that we bridge that gap between expenses and income by raising an income tax. And there could be no more untrue statement. I know from extensive work in public budgets that this can be balanced. Our budgets can be balanced by taking a look at the expense side of the ledger, which doesn't seem to ever be discussed here by the majority party, but absolutely must be and needs to be discussed by folks that have experience balancing budgets at all levels.
Along with the coronavirus restrictions impacting our budget, there's also been a crisis with the Employment Security Department.
Sure.
And they've lost or had stolen from them between $650 million to $1 billion worth of Washington taxpayer dollars. Can you share what you would do to bring some government accountability back to our state?
You know, that's just the perfect question to follow up from our last discussion. We were just talking about how do we bridge gaps in expected revenue or unanticipated expense. When you look at a situation like this, where the inability to effectively manage a team or a staff from the executive perspective, or oversee that public staff from the legislative perspective, has ended up in a situation where we have the better part of $1 billion going out the door to folks in another continent, right? So what needs to happen here, what needs to happen is we need to elect a good governor who's going to hold people accountable and runs the business of government like the business of business, and is willing to see people out the door that have just massive malfeasance happen underneath their nose. What can happen from the Senate side is oversight, and that needs to happen as well. And so I look forward to being part of this discussion, dissecting what went wrong, working to hold people accountable, and demonstrating when they're not held accountable. When we want to talk about balancing our budget, this is the kind of thing that is a perfect example of what we really need to take a look at with a microscope to make sure that our dollars and cents go to the right places and are spent wisely and are not just left, the door's not just left open for bad actors to come take our money in the middle of the night.
There's another controversy taking place with the Washington Department of Labor and Industries, who are seeking to fine businesses that haven't followed the governor's restrictions for COVID-19. Can you share your thoughts about those fines?
Absolutely. So we're talking about, I assume, the $10,000 fine for a business to open up in the wrong phase. So first off, they need to know what phase they're in, and maybe even what L&I is asking of them. Beyond that, right, the idea of a $10,000 fine for opening up is completely ridiculous. And I would argue that it's probably an Eighth Amendment violation. It's a completely unreasonable fine for the infraction that they're doing. First off, the legislature's never seen the infraction other than through the governor's memo. So it's arguably not even a law that they're breaking. And the second is that you can't tie that fine to any reasonable policy.
Josh, as a wrap up to this video, can you tell people why they should vote for you and how they could help support your campaign?
Absolutely. So folks are going to have some good choices on the ballot in August. And when they look at those choices, they're going to see me. I'm the one that's the mayor of Orting. I'm the mayor that reduced car tab fees in the city of Orting after the voters requested it at the end of last year. I have a breadth of experience in both the legislative capacity as a council member and the executive capacity as a mayor, and a regional capacity as a member of boards and elected positions throughout Washington state. And so I believe that when the voters look at my voters guide bio, and they look at my website, votepenner.com, and they look at our Facebook page, facebook.com/votepenner, and they just see the quality of the work that we have done in the city of Orting, they're going to see why Team Penner is the way to go in November.
Share what your website address is.
Absolutely. The website is www.votepenner.com.
Thank you so much for meeting with me today, Josh.
You bet. Thank you.